Hello there. I'm Royish Good Looks, and if you don't know, I have written a whopping 62 songs all about Star Wars. And I've always wondered what it would be like to put those songs in chronological order from the prequels all the way to the sequels and everything in between. I don't know if it would make for a great playlist or a great album or a great set list for a live show, but Qui-Gon said to put my songs in chronological order, so that's what I'm gonna do. You're watching Royish Good Looks 2. This is my second channel, my behind the scenes channel for my podcast and other cool videos like this one. If you like what I'm doing here and you wanna show your support, check out my Patreon page or my Bandcamp page. The links are in the description of this video. It's the best way to support what I'm doing here. Thank you for considering that, and thank you for tuning in today, and let's get in to the show. So I've got a spreadsheet here of all my songs. Can you believe it? 62. I counted, removing some of the duplicate songs. There's not the Roy versions of some of my remix songs. There's not my Rick and Morty remix songs or any of my other covers. These are just my Star Wars songs, beginning with Hello from the Dark Side, all the way to my most recent, The Cavalry Has Arrived. So 62 songs between 2015 and 2024. 8.5 years. Next year will be the 10th anniversary of Hello from the Dark Side. We'll have to do something special, but for now, we're going to start with putting all of these songs in chronological order. So we'll see the release date of when I put out the song. The color coding here is just showing every year that the song came out. This is just kind of how I've cataloged them for myself to see how many songs I put out in a year. And at the top of our spreadsheet, we've got, I think, all of the Star Wars stuff that's been out, or at least most of it. Our prequels, the anthology movies, the originals, and the sequels, and of course, all of the series that are streaming or have been on TV. I don't know if this is an impossible task, but we're gonna do it anyway. If you wanna skip ahead and just download the chronological order, there's a link in the description for a nice clean PDF of it, but stick around and watch me struggle to make the whole darn thing. So the way I want to approach this is we'll go song by song, starting with Hello from the Dark Side, and we'll see where everything fits in. Hopefully it doesn't become a jumbled mess, but I don't know any other better way to do this. So this is how we're going to do it. It's going to be tricky to fit in every song with one era of Star Wars, so I've left at least 3 things that we could link from it. If it spans prequels, originals, and sequels, that's probably going to be the case for a couple of songs. All right, so let's start with number 1, Hello from the Dark Side. This is mostly original trilogy stuff, and it's got a little bit of The Force Awakens. So let's call that original trilogy, bonus Force Awakens content. All-Powerful Force is basically the same thing. I don't think there's much different there. Everyone Likes Star Wars is a tricky one because that's a meta song. It's not about a story at all. Where should meta songs go? Should they not even be like in the timeline per se? Maybe that's its own thing. We can put it on its own sort of level that it just doesn't fit in. Maybe that'll make sense for now. All right, then we've got Stormtrooping, which is the Rogue One song. So that's gonna have to go before Hello from the Dark Side, and that's specifically Rogue One, I believe. All right, the final Chewbacca, that's gotta be original trilogy, right? Are there scenes from Force Awakens in that? I'm not 100% sure. Let's put that even before Hello from the Dark Side then, because that would make sense. That's original trilogy. I'm gonna need you to fact check me if I get any of my references wrong. All right, Star Wars main theme, I'm gonna put that in with Stormtrooping as well, that was another sort of Rogue One themed song. All right, Once a Jedi Knight, that's original trilogy as well, and that's got to be before Final Chewbacca because Obi-Wan tells that story to Luke before they even meet them. So that's going to be, I guess that's just A New Hope, right? That's specifically A New Hope. Short for a Stormtrooper, that's also original Star Wars. So after Once a Jedi Knight, I do think that uses scenes from Empire Strikes Back and maybe Return of the Jedi, but obviously the lyric there is from A New Hope. Similar with Bad Feeling About This. That's like every movie. This is gonna get tricky. The line, I've got a bad feeling about this, shows up right after the short for a Stormtrooper scene. So let's call that A New Hope as well. Man, We Didn't Start the Fire. This is a meta one. So this has got everything except Rise of Skywalker, maybe? There might have been references to Last Jedi there. Yeah, that's going to be a meta one. So let's put that at the bottom here for now. I guess if we don't know where something goes, we'll put it at the bottom with this space, and then we can reorder it later. All right, Jedi Jedi. It's our first prequel song. Top of the list, Jedi Jedi. That is 100% Phantom Menace. That's just the story of them finding Anakin. And I think it's also the only song where I really talk about Qui-Gon. Obi-Wan trains with me. So the first line is literally from Qui-Gon Jinn's perspective. So that's kind of cool. And also, obviously, a parody. All right, Ode to BB-8. I guess this will be our first legitimate sequel song. And this is going to be a Force Awakens? When did Last Jedi come out? That was 2018, right? Yeah, so March, it's before. Last Jedi came out in December of 2017. So that's going to be the Force Awakens sequel trilogy. All right, Ode to the Millennium Falcon. That's originals. The chorus lyric is, "It's the fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy." I'm going to put that after Final Chewbacca. May the 4th be with you. This is another kind of meta one. When I put this song out, I think it was May the 4th. So yeah, this was themed around Last Jedi, but it's still kind of meta. That definitely fits in with the everyone likes Star Wars. At least We Didn't Start the Fire is actual events in Star Wars, but they don't really fit, right? So those are kind of meta. I needed to make one more tag. I didn't think far enough ahead. All right, Bring Balance to the Force. This one spans a couple of eras, but is he not the chosen one, the one to bring balance to the Force? It's a quote from the prequels. I think we can put that before Stormtroopin'. Yeah, that song is Anakin's story, turning into a Jedi, falling to the dark side, but the idea being he is gonna bring balance to the Force. We do maybe jump to Return of the Jedi a little bit. We can put those kind of next to each other. How about that? All right, Mind Tricks Don't Work on Me. There's mind tricks in all eras of Star Wars. I think I even used a clip from Rebels. I hadn't seen the whole Rebels series at that point, but I'd seen a couple random episodes. I don't have any Rebels songs quite yet. We're gonna say Phantom Menace, since that's mostly where that's inspired from. Yeah, so, all right, these songs that are inspired by one particular line of dialogue, the lyrics usually do pertain to that one era, but the video is normally expanding that idea to the entire series. That's kind of what's throwing me for a loop a little bit on some of these. Even though Mind Tricks Don't Work on Me, there's Rebels, there's the scene where Obi-Wan tricks the stormtroopers in A New Hope, but clearly the lyric is inspired by that. All right, Padawan. I'm gonna say that that's another prequel era thing, but that's maybe the whole prequels again, maybe before Bring Balance to the Force. This is interesting how this is shaping up. Jedi, Mind Tricks, Padawan, Bring Balance to the Force. You can already sort of see themes almost emerging with just a handful of songs here. All right, I Love You, I Know. That's simple. That's Empire Strikes Back. I know there's scenes from the other films, but that's going to be original trilogy. After Final Chewbacca? No, after Bad Feeling About This. Yeah, I guess we can have individual movies, and then if it spans everything, that can kind of just be at the end. So I Love You, I Know is Empire Strikes Back. I Hate Sand. That's pretty easy. That's going to be Attack of the Clones. All right, Dark Side, Light Side. This is another really tricky one. This spans everything up until, I don't know if there's scenes from Last Jedi in that video, but what's the story? The two verses sort of focus on the prequels and the original trilogy with some filler video from the sequels. Yeah, this is kind of an overarching one. So maybe this fits sort of in between the prequels and the original trilogy, right? So Dark Side, Light Side, we can have prequel. Well, I mean, it really is everything. Prequel, original, and I guess TFA. Okay, Last Jedi Knight. That's easy. That's The Last Jedi. No problem there. A lot of other good references in that to other material, but obviously themed for The Last Jedi movie. I got a lot of really nice comments when that came out that I'd sort of predicted the plot of The Last Jedi before the movie was actually released. Total accident, just I based that parody off of what we saw in the trailers, which was Luke, being kind of a curmudgeon. So I'd like to be able to say I'm that smart, but I'm not. May the Force Be With You is next, which I'll give you a little behind the scenes here. It's literally the same song as May the 4th Be With You. I just chopped out the bit that says fourth and put in s. I literally just put in that syllable there. I might have actually mixed the EQ and effects a little bit differently, but it's the same exact May the 4 Be With You. It's just that one part of the word that I've copy and pasted a new take into. But that's going to be on our meta list here that we don't really know where things go. Can we just call this meta? Now we have a formal label so we don't get confused as we go on. All right, I Have the High Ground. That's Revenge of the Sith. All right, so we're in a prequel era. I Hate Sand, and then I Have the High Ground. That's an interesting back-to-back right there. The Force Is With Me. So this is a Rogue One song, but so let's put that in between Stormtrooping and the main theme because we don't meet Chirrut Imwe until a little bit into the film, right after the stormtroopers kind of show up. So we've got stormtroopers, stormtrooping, rebels rebelling, and then the Force is with us. And now looking at this, I'm a little confused that we've got Dark Side, Light Side labeled as prequel, original, and TFA in between these. So that is kind of a funny setting there. Should we move Rogue One after that? Yeah, since Rogue One butts right up to A New Hope. those should probably be closer together. And then we could at least keep these prequels together, right? Yeah. Okay, now I like this, because now we can go from bring balance to the force to dark side, light side. Now we're talking, now we're building the set list, right? The dichotomy of the force. That's great. I love how that works. And then we can take a little detour for the, rebellion sort of stuff in between, even though that song does kind of span a couple different eras. Like I said, it's tough. It's not going to be a perfect list. Start your own YouTube channel and make your own chronological order, or just argue with me in the comments. That's cool too. Jar Jar Binks anthem. Well, that's pretty easy. I would say that's Phantom Menace mostly. That's right at the beginning, right? That might be the first song. Jar Jar Binks anthem. Is that how we open the set list? Really? That's going to be the first song. Wow. This is actually blowing my mind. It's kind of fun to play that on acoustic guitar. That is sort of like a fun jam icebreaker. Like, this isn't going to be the most serious music you're going to hear. I would have never just thrown that out there as an opening track to an album or a set, but I'm seeing the advantage now. All right, what is next? What is next? What is next? All right, Galaxy Far, Far Away. Man, Galaxy Far, Far Away is another tricky one because that's sort of meta. It's not about the story of Star Wars. I'm singing just about Star Wars as a property. So that's going to be next to Everyone Likes Star Wars, maybe, right? Galaxy Far, Far Away was meant to be sort of a celebration of it with some tongue-in-cheek references as well. So those two thematically fit together. All right, track 4, A New Hope. So this is an easy one. We know exactly where this goes. I did intend to make track 5, track 6, do a whole song sort of summarizing every film, but that's a lot harder than it sounds to do. I had fun putting that song together. It's probably one of my more silly sort of Star Wars songs, and I feel like I've kind of gotten away. I feel like I've gotten away from being that lighthearted with my Star Wars songs and gotten a little bit more deep into the emotional side of the story. And if you look at the songs that I had released here, Last Jedi Knight is a really silly parody. The Force is With Me is a remix. I Have the High Ground is a silly remix. Jar Jar Binks Anthem was another silly. These are all remixes. It's interesting, like the chronological order aside, all the songs I was releasing at that time sort of have this comedy element to them. But anyway, we got to fit this in our timeline. So I think, love it. Star Wars main theme into track 4, A New Hope. It doesn't get any more perfect than that, right? All right, Christmas on Tatooine. I guess this is sort of an A New Hope song, but there's no Christmas in Star Wars. That's a little meta. We talk about Christmas, reindeer. I'm going to put that one on the meta list for now. It's not to say that we can't move that into the timeline, but I'm not really sure where that would go. But let's call that meta for now, since that it invokes the real world, right? So it's not quite fair for the timeline. All right, It's a Trap. Yeah, these are all silly songs. Not a remix, an original. So this is going to be a original trilogy, but specifically Return of the Jedi. Boom. So now I've goofed all this up again. Should I put this before the final Chewbacca then? Yeah. Again, let's keep the individual songs in order and any kind of overarching ones after that. Okay. All right, Anakin's mom. This is prequel. It could be after Jedi or Mind Tricks Don't Work on Me, because that's that Qui-Gon scene. It either comes after Mind Tricks or after I Hate Sand. The story of Anakin's mom is... Oh, wait. Let's think about the lyric, though. So the chorus says, I'm looking for my mom. So that's Attack of the Clones. That's not really Phantom Menace. There might be some Phantom Menace scenes, but let's put that as Attack of the Clones, and it can play after I Hate Sand. He's on Naboo with Padme, and then they go to Tatooine. Interesting stuff. All right, Fallen Jedi Knights. So this one does span a couple of eras as well, but lyrically, this is mostly about the prequels. So Padawan, Bring Balance to the Force, and then Fallen Jedi Knight. What do you think about that, right? And then it's Dark Side, Light Side. Ooh, this is breaking my heart. We have Anakin being found here on Tatooine. He's mad about Sand missing his mom, talking with Padme. They try to save his mom. He can't save his mom. He fights with Obi-Wan on Mustafar. And we've got these overarching songs, the Padawan, that's going to bring balance to the Force, that ends up killing all of the Jedi. And then we've got this dark side, light side in balance. That's a pretty strong set there. All right, total side note. We're gonna pause from this for a minute. Whenever I'm waiting for something to load in the studio, or I've hit a roadblock and I can't figure out what to do next, or something's frustrating me, or even if I just don't know what to do that day. I'm a self-employed musician, and you got to make your own schedule every day. Sometimes that might sound like living the dream, but sometimes it's actually really difficult to know what should I even be doing today. There's no boss telling me what to do. And so when I have days like those or moments like those, I'll just grab my guitar and jam, but I never jam out to those 4 songs. Padawan, Bring Me to the Force, Fallen Jedi Knights, Dark Side, Light Side. I have a bias to my newer material. I'm not going to play favorites. Everybody always asks me what my favorite song is, but I definitely do have a bias to like being more proud of the thing I've most recently released rather than older stuff. But that's still a strong set list there. So maybe that's worth revisiting, whether or not like simply just practicing those songs for a potential future Royish Good Looks show, or maybe even revisiting those songs and turning them into some sort of epic like Broadway play or something, some kind of Royish Good Looks Star Wars musical. That could be cool. This is just simply reminding me that these songs exist and maybe rekindling a little bit of my affection for them. I don't know if I'm ever gonna go on a world tour or do any kind of like live streaming shows. I don't have any specific plans to do that, but if I did, this exercise is definitely going to help inform that. If I do, I really don't know, but leave your comments if you've watched this far into the video, how you feel about this. Should I be performing these songs in this order? Should I like re-record them so they can sound like they're meant to be together? Should I reimagine them so that they can be together? You let me know. All right, You're My Only Hope. That's an easy one. Is that after the Once a Jedi Knight? It's definitely that same scene. I don't know about that line. I don't know if that's after or before that scene, but let's put it right next to it. Fact check me in the comments. He's too dangerous to be left alive. This is Revenge of the Sith, is it not? So let's put that right after Eye of the High Ground. Oh no, it's before that. It's before the High Ground scene, right? Back to Jakku. Silly remix song. I guess that's Force Awakens, right? Why is everybody going back to Jakku? All right, Let the Past Die. That's an easy one. That's Last Jedi. Before Last Jedi Knight or after Last Jedi Knight? Let the Past Die. I think that'll be after it, because that's after Rey meets Luke, I think. All right, Baby Yoda. This is where things are going to get interesting, because now, Baby Yoda, January 13, 2020. Wow, more than 4 years ago. I kind of find that hard to believe, but the spreadsheet doesn't lie. This is the first song about the Star Wars Disney Plus shows. Where the heck does this go in the timeline? Baby Yoda is Mandalorian, right? And that's between the original and sequel trilogy, right? So, Mando. This is Mando season 1 specifically. So if we were going to sing some songs in order, we could have It's a Trap, Baby Yoda, and then Ode to BB-8. It's a little bit of a silly set list, but that's chronological order. All right, The Force is Strong. That's going to be Rise. The battle rages on. Some we won, some we lost. No one's ever really gone, the Force is strong. No one's ever really gone is a line from The Rise of Skywalker. But it is kind of a culmination of everything. So let's say that is... Oh wait, no, we're doing this on lyrics. So let me pull the song up for a minute. Okay, upon rewatching, the first verse is mostly Anakin, second verse is Luke, although it does transition from original trilogy Luke to sequel trilogy Luke. So this is everything, I guess? Prequel, original, sequel. I think putting that at the end here is a fair... I'm now kind of wondering if that's the closer to the set list or the album, because that really is the culmination of the Skywalker saga. If we've got a little bit of every trilogy in there, that is the most inclusive song that I have so far, right? I was able to draw from all 9 movies in the lyrics, able to draw from all 9 movies in the video. So yeah, I like having that being the closer at the moment. I don't know if I have any other sequel songs that are going to come after that. So that might end up being the last song. We're going to open with Jar Jar Binks, end with The Force is Strong. All right, Rogue Squadron. Now, before you yell at me in the comments, I know Rogue Squadron didn't blow up the Death Star. It was Red Squadron. If you have a problem with that lyric, feel free to sing Red Squadron every time you listen to the song. But Rogue Squadron is such a cooler name. Well, I guess Red Squadron is a cool name too. But either way, so this is going to be, I guess the end of A New Hope would be the Rogue Squadron song, right? I was really proud of Rogue Squadron when that song came out. It was one of the first times I had completed the song and completed the mix, but wasn't going to release it like the next day. I actually sat on that for like a week or two, and I was just like, it sounds so good. It sounds like punk rock. It's not overdone. I was like really happy with it. It wasn't like a struggle of like, I gotta fix everything and so it's ready to go for this weekend, which is kind of the case with a lot of my songs. And I feel like after this point, I got a lot better at arranging and mixing, and that song was maybe like a tipping point. And that came out in June 2020, so we're all kind of like stuck at home. I think I had a lot of growth within that period with being able to like disconnect from the world a little bit and kind of focus on my own craft. That was maybe one of the positives that came out of the pandemic, at least for me. Anyway, that's my spiel about Rogue Squadron. I like that song. Although Rogue Squadron is really hard to sing, especially the part where it just repeats squadron, squadron, squadron. I don't recommend using that as a lyric in your song. All right, I'm Your Father. That's Empire Strikes Back, right? So, I Love You, I Know. Is it right after I Love You, I Know? They test the carbon freezing on Han, and then Luke comes in, right? I think that's the case. We'll go with that. All right, Padme's song. Padme, I promise I'll be there for you. With my new powers, I'll learn how to save you. That's a Revenge of the Sith song. Is that after Anakin's mom? He's having the dreams, right? Our love is a secret nobody knows, and it's harder to keep it the more that it grows. Yeah, it's sort of in between all these. Let's put it beforehand, though, because maybe that would play well off of Anakin's mom to go to Padme's song. You know, he's like, I want to save my mom, can't save my mom, now I want to save Padme. He's Too Dangerous and I Have the High Ground, or maybe more kind of Jedi fighting songs. Anakin's mom and Padme's song are a little bit more emotional. This Is the Way. All right, so that's going to be before or after Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda shows up in the first episode. I don't know when This Is the Way shows up. Let's put that after Baby Yoda. All right, and then My Baby Grogu, that has to be after, right? Wow, look at this, 3 Mando songs. I knew I had 3 Mando songs, but yeah, that's interesting. He's saying goodbye in My Baby Grogu. I really wish that they drew that out a little bit more, that he didn't come back in Book of Boba Fett Grogu, but that's the order. All right, Feel the Force flowing through the energy surrounding you. Concentrate. Clear your mind, the power will be your ally. This is a song about Rey. You were born for more than this. You've got a power hidden deep within, and it's time for your training to begin. Yeah, so this is a Rey song. And then even second verse, 1,000 generations live in you now. I think the video does span all of the trilogies, but this is really about Rey training. I think this is definitely a sequel song, but it's not quite as universal. Yeah, this is tricky. Is this only a sequel song? Concentrate, clear your mind, the power will be your ally. Those are Yoda quotes, right? So this is, I would say this is original and sequel. All right, The Chosen One, definitely a prequel song that sort of bleeds into the original trilogy. In between, maybe Balance to the Force and Fallen Jedi, or is it before that? Padawan and then The Chosen One? There are a couple of lyrics, I think, in the bridge in The Chosen One skips ahead a little bit. The most powerful Jedi is going to fall to the dark side. And even though it would enslave him, it's not too late to save him. So I think this is another prequel / original, or I guess that would also be Return of the Jedi, right? Not necessarily all the originals. They're kind of the same song, are they not? But Bring Balance to the Force is a little bit more like anthemic. In The Chosen One, it's kind of like an upbeat jammer. So even though they are sort of thematically the same song, or they're thematically about the same story, they're totally different vibes, which I guess is a positive that I didn't write the same song again. But I do get a lot of comments that are like, dude, you love Anakin. All your songs are about Anakin. And that's very clear here. I definitely lean a little heavier on the prequels. Speaking of the prequels, hello there. Now, he says hello there in A New Hope, right? So this is obviously prequel A New Hope. Yeah, because he says that in Revenge of the Sith. He says it in A New Hope. Yeah, it goes in between, right? That would be like after He's Too Dangerous. Hello there. And, oh, you know what? The bridge uses lyrics from Return of the Jedi. What I told you is true. From a certain point of view. So, yeah, this song, Hello There, is not a prequel song. It is an Obi-Wan Kenobi song. Yeah, the verses are actually about Obi-Wan talking to Luke, telling him his story to Luke. It's Obi-Wan meeting Luke on Tatooine and telling him the story of his father, essentially. Yeah, so you know what? I'm going to put that as, it almost fits better next to I Am Your Father. And you know what? This is jogging my memory. I was looking at Hello There as sort of the spiritual successor to I Am Your Father, right? That's kind of two sides of the story. Darth Vader saying, you know, I'm your father, you know, I killed Obi-Wan Kenobi. And Obi-Wan Kenobi telling Luke, you know, Darth Vader killed your father from a certain point of view. So I almost want to put that after I Am Your Father, but the quote doesn't come from there. The story does though, right? So we're basing on the story, not just the quote. Luke doesn't get that confirmation until Return though. So that does work. We get the I Am Your Father scene and we get the From a Certain Point of View scene. Those work right after each other with some callbacks to A New Hope. It might be a prequel meme, but the story clearly isn't in that song. Hello There is a lot deeper than the title would lead you to believe. All right, Bad Batch. So I would put Bad Batch, up there with Rogue Squadron, the like punk rock songs. Those are kind of my favorite as far as like my favorite arrangements of songs, the kind of punk rock bangers. But this one, it's definitely before Rogue One, right? Bad Batch. So that's its own, it's called the Bad Batch. So the Bad Batch. There we go. It would be remiss not to mention that that's the first song I ever did about Star Wars animation as well. Bad Batch was in fact the first Star Wars animated show that I watched start to finish. I binged season 1 and then watched seasons 2 and 3 in real time. And I think after I watched season 1, then I binged Rebels. Still don't have a Rebels song yet. Maybe one day though. You know what? This next string of songs I'm really proud of. This 2022 run was a hot streak, I think. So More Machine Now, he's more machine now than man. That's a Return of the Jedi line. So I guess is it a Return of the Jedi song? It's a Vader song, period. I Am Your Father, Hello There. Yeah, maybe it would be after Hello There, he's more machine now. That's the same scene from a certain point of view, right? Actually, we gotta pause. Let's think about the verses, not just the title of the song. This young boy is gonna leave the sands of Tatooine. One day he'll fulfill the prophecy. That's totally prequel era, right? And then verse 2, this young boy is filled with fear. We all sense it here. It's not a original trilogy song, even though it's inspired from a line from the original trilogy. It belongs in a museum. It belongs somewhere in this prequel era. It's an overarching prequel song. Bring balance to the Force. This young boy is going to leave. He's more machine now than man. It's a reflective song from Obi-Wan's point of view. That's the way I do look at that. Let's put it after Dark Side, Light Side. We can put the Return of the Jedi stamp there because it does kind of call up to that. But that's a prequel song. It's about young Anakin turning into a machine. He's more machine now than man. He tells that to Luke in Return of the Jedi, but I think Obi-Wan is thinking that in that era between the prequels and the original trilogy, really. All right, we're so close, all right? We're so close. A New Hope. Okay, so this is another meta one. This is a cover, if you're not familiar. This is a cover by Blink-182. Not a parody, and not an original of mine, obviously. So, we didn't start the fire as a parody, so it kind of fits in next to that. It's meta. Yeah, it's meta. No, I take that back. It fits in a little bit better with Everyone Likes Star Wars and Galaxy Far, Far Away. All right, How Liberty Dies. This is another punk rock political protest song. I'm really proud of this one too. I think one of my best mixes, maybe. It's got a lot of grit to it. I love the snare drum. It really pops right through. And where do we go with it? So this is after Padme's song, before He's Too Dangerous, Revenge of the Sith, right? Interesting, yeah. How Liberty Dies into He's Too Dangerous to Be Left Alive. That's perfect, right? It's Padme being like, this is what our democracy has come to. This is how liberty dies. And then Palpatine takes over. The lyrics in those verses are, how he's running the show behind the scenes, right? Now he's too dangerous to be left alive. So that works out really well. That's kind of cool. Never thought about putting those songs together, but they work. All right, Goodbye, Old Friend. I kind of already know exactly where I want to put this one because when I jam, I enjoy playing this song and then immediately going into More Machine Now. So I'm cheating a little bit. I'm pretty sure that has to go after Dark Side, Light Side. But although the line Goodbye Old Friend is from Revenge of the Sith, but the song is all about the Obi-Wan show. It's kind of interesting. So we can say like Obi-Wan, we can say Revenge of the Sith and also the Obi-Wan show. This kind of makes the labeling here a little off-put though. I do like this timeline here. We have all our fallen Jedi. We've got the split between the dark side, light side balance. Goodbye, old friend. Maybe dark side, light side has to come after all that, actually. We were hunted like we were enemies. Dark side, light side could probably come after More Machine Now, because it's kind of bridging the gap. Fallen Jedi Knights, Goodbye, old friend, More Machine Now. I almost want to put Eye of the High Ground before Goodbye, old friend. Yeah, can we disrupt this whole thing? Is what I'm doing sacrilegious or not? I'm not sure. Let's disrupt this prequel order of things, because we put that tag there, but that doesn't have to be the end-all, be-all, right? Let's put Eye of the High Ground before Goodbye, Old Friend, because that is the scene where Obi-Wan, they cut their ties there, quite literally. So I don't mind that. I'm almost thinking I want to move some of these other songs now. Chosen One, Bring Balance to the Force, those are like the same song. They're interchangeable in the timeline. Fallen Jedi Knights certainly follows those. Yeah, Eye of the High Ground is after Order 66, so that does make sense. Padawan, though, doesn't fit in between these. How Liberty Dies, He's Too Dangerous to Be Left Alive, and then this kind of epic prophecy stuff. Padawan could maybe go after Jedi, or mind tricks don't work on me once they leave Tatooine. I'm thinking more in terms now of like just a regular set list rather than kind of timeline, but let's put it before mind tricks don't work on me. Maybe I'm stretching things out, but that's making more sense now that we've kind of filled in a lot of extra stuff. This is where the fun begins. So this is a line that Anakin does say in Revenge of the Sith. Doesn't feel like it should go between Anakin's mom and Padme's song. This is where the fun begins. But it is at the beginning of Revenge of the Sith. That's tough. In the timeline, that's where it goes though, right? Oh, wait, so what? I keep forgetting to think about the lyrics. Don't forget the lyrics. The third verse jumps ahead to when he's Vader. He's got kind of a Vader retrospective. So it's sort of like Anakin singing from the future, reminiscing about his past. He also has the scene in Attack of the Clones where he's kind of flying around. Feels like it has to be in between Anakin's mom and Save You. That's where it really is in the timeline. Sky Guy, he's a pilot. This is in fact where it fits in the timeline, in between Anakin's mom and Padme's song, but I don't like that in terms of a set list. It's a very lighthearted song. Well, Anakin's mom is kind of upbeat, and so is This Is Where the Fun Begins, so maybe those, like, the vibe would work well together, and then Padme's song is a slow song, but thematically those stories are a little disconnected, but I guess that's where I have to put that. Maybe we'll put the Phantom Menace alongside there. And then Empire Strikes Back would be that he came out of Lightspeed too quickly, right? I'm gonna put that there. So if you wanted, it could just simply be a Vader retrospective song. It looks like we only have 6 more to go, but I don't feel like that's accurate. Why is the list, there might be some, are there duplicates on the list? I guess we'll find out in a minute. Without a Tribe, so that's Boba Fett. That's after, oh, they do flashbacks in that show. That's a tricky one, but that's mostly after The Mandalorian. Oh no! Without a Tribe is when he's with the Tuskens. So that is before Mando, really, and it's right after Return of the Jedi. Okay, I have to pee so freaking bad. So we're gonna stop recording and we're gonna restart in a minute. Behind the scenes! Okay. Woo! I had to take a little break because I didn't know this was going to take so long. This is a much bigger task than I thought it would be. As per usual, I'll just make a quick YouTube video 2 hours later. It only looks like there's a couple left, but there's not. I don't understand how 10 songs left that are going to fit in this. The spacing doesn't look right to me, but I guess we'll find out when we're done. All right, Never Tell Me the Odds. That is original trilogy. Quote from Empire Strikes Back. Let's call that an Empire Strikes Back song, even though he does talk about, what are the lyrics? Don't everybody thank me at once. Just hand me a medal when the war is won. So there's some A New Hope. I think that's the second verse. And then the first verse, I take orders from just one person, me. So the verses are really A New Hope, right? And then Never Tell Me the Odds is Empire Strikes Back. So I think that works well because we've got A New Hope, Rogue Squadron, Red Squadron, takes out the Death Star with Han Solo's help. Just hand me a medal when the war is won. So that kind of works like into A New Hope, into The Empire Strikes Back. It's Han being cocky. I know the video uses scenes from Return of the Jedi, but I don't think there's lyrics from that. Yeah, and even the bridge. Everything is under control, situation normal, everything is perfectly fine. So it's really more of an A New Hope song than anything. So I think that fits in between A New Hope and Empire. It might be able to come before Rogue Squadron. Rogue Squadron and Never Tell Me the Odds, the order there could be maybe flip-flopped. Yeah, I don't think I mind that. All right, It's Like Poetry. Kind of similar to Feel the Force or Force is Strong, a sort of like overarching song, or like Dark Side, Light Side even. But I think the story is more about Rey. I hear a voice calling out, telling me the time is now. Yeah, she hears a voice in Force Awakens, and these are only your first steps. She hears Obi-Wan Kenobi, these are your first steps. Verse 2, I'm growing stronger every year, facing down all of my fears, I'll never quit, I'll never tire, I'm the spark that lights the fire. Yeah, this is a sequel-inspired song, more or less. Maybe before Feel the Force, Let the Past Die, and then It's Like Poetry? Feel the Force, Rey is becoming a Jedi, and It's Like Poetry is, more the fulfilling the destiny. Feel the Force, train to be a Jedi, tap into your inner power, and It's Like Poetry, fulfill your destiny. So let's flip-flop those. Let's put It's Like Poetry after Feel the Force. Are there prequel lyrics there? Well, and it couldn't be like poetry without the other trilogies, right? All right, so original/sequel, but kind of Rey-oriented there. We'll go with it. All right, The Mandalorian. Oh, I got 4 Mando songs, huh? This is season 3 Mando. So we've got 2 season 1 Mando songs, 1 season 2, 1 season 3. Although Mando does show up in Book of Boba Fett and in the bridge of Without a Tribe. You and me, we're more than just this armor. Yeah, So those could be kind of flip-flopped. Like Without a Tribe and The Mandalorian, those would actually play well next to each other because Boba Fett is singing about Boba Fett singing. Without a Tribe is sung from Boba Fett's perspective. When my armor was stripped right off of me, I'm ready to leave this life behind. It's kind of like The Mandalorian. Like, what makes The Mandalorian? It's more than this Beskar steel with Boba Fett. You know, what makes the man under the mask? You know, it's his tribe. What are you without the tribe? What are you without the Mandalorian people as well? Who cares about the armor? So those two are a cool pairing. You take maybe a detour with Grogu in between, but that's cool. There's like five songs about that era. All right, Do or Do Not, There Is No Try. Obviously, The Empire Strikes Back. You don't have all the answers, but you're trying to figure it out. You're learning from all the masters. You still got a head full of doubt. Yeah, that's all Luke. What's verse 2? I don't remember verse 2. You must have a deep commitment and have the most serious mind. So that's all Empire Strikes Back. That's before I Love You, I Know. Maybe kind of concurrent with Never Tell Me the Odds. But that might play better next to I Am Your Father, right? And Never Tell Me the Odds. Yeah, let's switch those. All right, so we'll swap those. So we get Never Tell Me the Odds, Han being this hot shot, and then Leia says, I love you. He says, I know. Although I guess there's a little bit of Return of the Jedi in I Love You, I Know. We should put that in there. Oh, this is all originals in I Love You, I Know. The line, it's so funny. We keep fact-checking ourselves as we're doing this. I'm a pirate. I look out for only myself. When I heard the princess was in danger, I wouldn't even go save her until I found out her wealth. This is just simply an original trilogy song. I guess let's call that Empire Strikes Back because that's where the line is from, but it's an original trilogy song, period. It could go wherever we saw fit, really. But 2 Han songs in a row and then the kind of Jedi songs, right? Do or Do Not, I'm Your Father, Hello There. Those work well. And then Final Chewbacca. It's funny, now that I'm looking at this, after 2 hours of doing this, I'm having a lot more thoughts pop up. The Final Chewbacca doesn't even have any lyrics except the final... I say the final countdown in the video. I don't even say the final Chewbacca. So that's a silly one. And now that I'm looking at it, what about Ode to the Millennium Falcon? Maybe that's after Never Tell Me the Odds? Because that's the Empire Strikes Back line of Fastest Hunk of Junk in the Galaxy? Oh no, that line is in A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, right? Interesting. Yeah, so let's put that next to Never Tell Me the Odds, because those are both kind of like, because those are both sort of in the same vein. Yeah, this final Chewbacca one does that deserve to be on the meta level? Not sure where that one belongs. All right, Master and Apprentice. So this one is Ahsoka, right? It's at least after Mandalorian Season 2, right? Because she shows up in Season 2 asking where Thrawn is. So let's assume that that's after at least Season 2, but let's put it after Mando just for convenience sake. Same-ish timeline there. All right, Do It. This is a prequel one. Well, actually, this one kind of blends Revenge of the Sith and Return of the Jedi, all the parallels between there, the poetry between there. Give in to your anger. Maybe that's between Bring Balance to the Force and Fallen Jedi Knights? Like we're setting up Anakin as the chosen one, fulfilling the prophecy, but then he gives into his anger. We get all the Fallen Jedi Knights. He takes on Obi-Wan. He turns into this agent of evil. I kind of like that. Yeah, all of these. Revenge of the Sith and Return of the Jedi parallel really well. All right, Rebellion. Oh, we skipped one. We skipped one a few back. Sorry, we skipped Rebellion. This is another one of my favorite ones. This is Andor. I'm not exactly sure where this falls in the timeline, but I believe Andor is supposed to lead into Rogue One. So maybe this is like after the Bad Batch, presumably? Or maybe like concurrent with that? I don't know. Let's put that there, though. After the Bad Batch, before Rogue One. That's interesting. Bad Batch. Ooh, Rebellion and Stormtrooping together. I like that. We all have our own rebellion. Stormtroopers stormtrooping. Rebels rebelling. That's not bad. All right, Mandalore, here we come. Wow, I got another Mandalorian song. Can you tell I like the Mandalorians? I just think they're neat. That's a Season 3 song, though. I guess that could take place right after... Yeah, that's going to be a kind of season finale thing, right? Wow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 Mando songs. Is that one of the bigger, other than the prequels, obviously? Maybe A New Hope? Huh. I like the prequels, I like A New Hope, and I like Mandalorian. That's clearly where my loyalties lie in Star Wars, right? And how is the list longer? There's got to be some duplicates somewhere. I don't know what I did wrong. That doesn't make any sense. Obviously, we'll count it, right? This says 62, but we still have 2 more songs to go. Okay, so Broken Heart. This one came out a couple months ago, and that's a prequel song. So that's going to be, this is after Padme's song, right? Padme's song, Save You? Couldn't save you, Broken Heart. Or I guess after Liberty Dies? I think it would play well after Padme's song. He's trying to save her, and then he can't. But then you can't sing How Liberty Dies. It has to be before I have the... Or I guess it's... Yeah, I guess it's right before I have the high ground. Fallen Jedi Knights, and then Broken Heart. Ooh. Yeah, it's kind of fascinating. I'm really dragging out this prequel era, and even though Padme's song and Broken Heart, I mean, that's Padme's song part 2. I almost debated calling it that, but Broken Heart doesn't use any Star Warsian language specifically. It's a pretty universal song, if you didn't know. It was about Star Wars. So even though you could have those two together as like a part 1 and part 2, in the timeline it's much later, and it really does fit this era. Wow, this is such an emo era, right? We get all the Jedi are killed, our heart's broken, and then we break up with Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's sad, he loses his best friend for real. You know, he says, my friend is truly gone. He's more machine now than man. We got the dark side and the light side dueling each other. Ah, so good. All right, and then finally, the cavalry has arrived. This is an easy one, right after the Bad Batch. So that's Bad Batch Season 3. There you have it. So what the heck? Why do we have so many extra songs? You've been watching, you must have seen me goof it up at some point. Here's what we can do. We can now number these. 1, 2, 3, right? We'll drag this out and we'll see where we goofed up, at least number-wise. Oh no, so why does it look different? Are they just different sizes? So that is in fact 62 songs, but the rows just don't line up for whatever reason. The rows aren't exactly the same size. Well, so that's silly. It's just that the rows in the spreadsheet are the wrong sizes. So I goofed that up, but I'm glad I don't have to go back and find a duplicate song. I do feel a little bit bad that we haven't fit in all these meta songs into the timeline, because then it means we can't really sing about them, right? So even though we've tagged them as meta, we should go back through and let's fit it in wherever it makes the most sense, right? So A New Hope, obviously, goes next to A New Hope. Main theme, it could go anywhere here. Oh yeah, right after these Leia songs, right? You're My Only Hope, short for a stormtrooper. And then Leia comes in, right? We can put meta next to it just so we know, but it is A New Hope. We'll fix our numbers in a minute. Everyone likes Star Wars. Star Wars makes lots of money. Everyone likes Star Wars and they're gonna make more money. How do you recreate the spark that happened a long time ago? Everyone likes Star Wars is looking forward to the future. Like, what are the new movies gonna bring us? And I think it was just before Rogue One and Solo came out. So this has to go after, for just regular like movie timeline context, it would have to go after The Force Awakens and maybe before Last Jedi, before there was like extra discourse. This is two-pronged. It's his original. I guess it's kind of everything really, right? It calls back to the prequels. What if the prequels were good? But I think it's mostly saying like, we love the originals, we're gonna make sequels no matter what. Therefore, it's a meta song. Not perfect, but we'll go with that. Galaxy Far, Far Away came out after Solo and after Last Jedi. So let's put it there. And what do we sing about in that? We're going on an adventure today in a galaxy far, far away. So who is next? I don't know, but maybe Boba Fett and Obi-Wan or Darth Maul. It doesn't fit in the timeline at all. This is just the timeline of when I wrote it. And there was at some point in time, I think I said this on a Royish Good Looks podcast episode, that I thought that this would be a good opener. Like, we're going on an adventure in a galaxy far, far away. So, you know, it is a little silly, but maybe that's a better introduction than just Jar Jar Binks. Like, we're gonna open it up with a meta song. We love Star Wars, here's that. I think I should maybe try to redo a song with that sort of same theme. Like, we all love Star Wars and we're going to that galaxy far, far away. I need to do a part 2 of that. This fits in better at the beginning of the set as another icebreaker, just like Jar Jar Binks' anthem. Welcome to the show. We're gonna go to a galaxy far, far away. Here's a song about everyone's favorite character, Jar Jar Binks, right? So we get kind of a fun, silly icebreaker, right? Yeah, and then Jedi. This is a fun romp to begin the set. Okay, Christmas on Tatooine. There's a lot of Tatooine in A New Hope and in Return of the Jedi and maybe Mandalorian Boba Fett. I guess Phantom Menace 2? So it could kind of go anywhere. Maybe after track 4, A New Hope, Christmas on Tatooine, and then we were once a Jedi Knight like your father. The Tusken Raiders stole all our presents, and Jawas took our decorations. Yeah, because Luke isn't happy on Tatooine. He wants to leave Tatooine in A New Hope. So maybe that fits well there, that he's the kid on Tatooine that doesn't enjoy his Christmas on Tatooine. Obviously meta, that's where it's going. All right, may the Force be with you. All right, this is tricky now because these are obviously kind of a duplicate, right? If you were playing a show on May the 4th, maybe you would open with that. Otherwise, may the Force be with you. So let's put those even before a galaxy far, far away. So may the Force be with you. I guess it's not necessarily meta, that could be any era. But that's the walkout music, right? Or the lights go down, may the Force be with you. That's my opening crawl, now that I'm thinking about it. You know, that is the same idea as Galaxy Far, Far Away, but without all the extra silly lyrics talking about the shows and the movies themselves. And if it's May the 4th, then we would play May the 4th instead of May the Force. And then finally, where the heck would we put We Didn't Start the Fire? Because that spans everything. Like, is that the ending song? Is that the opening song again? That might be the other opener, right? That would be so silly. You open on a parody cover song. Is it a little too cliche to open on a parody song like that? I've never been to a Weird Al Yankovic concert, but he must play parodies live, right? I'm gonna have to look this up. I haven't done enough research about Weird Al, given how much people actually compare me to him. That might actually be a pretty awesome way to open the set. Everybody knows that song. The chorus is fun to sing along to, although it is really long and there are a lot of lyrics, so that's a dangerous one, but that could be pretty satisfying. Is that a better first song than Galaxy Far, Far Away, though? I think I would still want to play an original song first. I don't think I would want to open with a parody. All right, so let's do one final spell check and talk out our set list, track listing here. The lights dim at the venue, or you're just sitting with headphones on and you're zoning in. And we open up with May the Force Be With You. We hit you with the pop punk banger Galaxy Far, Far Away. Into the parody We Didn't Start the Fire. We get even more silly with Jar Jar Binks' anthem, Jedi Jedi, another parody. Padawan, another parody. Wow, we really front load the parodies here. Mind Tricks Don't Work on Me. We bring in the dance track. Darth Vader with the trombone solo. Then we go to another parody, I Hate Sand, Weezer, Island in the Sun, obviously. So the first 9 songs, I think, are actually a really fun set there, which I think is interesting. And you can see these are all the purple tracks. Those are all from that same era. And then we really dive deep into the Anakin Skywalker saga. I Hate Sand, Anakin's mom, This Is Where the Fun Begins, and Padme's song. And then we flip over to the kind of political stuff. How Liberty Dies, He's Too Dangerous to Be Left Alive. And then we bring up all the prophecy songs. We've got The Chosen One, Bring Balance to the Force, and then Do It. We fall to the dark side. We kill all the Jedi, and we break our hearts. Obi-Wan has the high ground, and he says goodbye to his old friend, who is more machine now than man. And we've got our dark side and our light side. We get our Bad Batch family song, The Cavalry Has Arrived kind of family song. And then we kind of formally move into the age of rebellion, stormtrooping. The Force Is With Me is another kind of like overarching, fourth song. That could honestly go first in the set list really too. Star Wars main theme, maybe this is kind of silly that that's in the middle. Why would we do the main theme in the middle of the set? Should that move? Well, I guess it would be cool if you were like, now we're out of the prequels and we're moving into the original trilogy, that you would play that kind of rock song there into track 4, New Hope. Yeah, I don't know about that. If this was a live show, I'd have to rethink that, but it works here on the playlist, I suppose, as maybe a palate cleanser in between the prequels and the originals. We get silly with Christmas on Tatooine, Once a Jedi Knight. You're My Only Hope, I think, actually is a pretty sincere ballad. About a year or so ago, I did a special edition remix of that on Patreon. Sign up and check that out. It's a little bit cleaner than the version that's on YouTube and Spotify. It's just a little bit of a better mix. Short for Stormtrooper, kind of silly. Blink-182's A New Hope, obviously kind of silly. Oh, you know what? I labeled this kind of wrong, because on my catalog, I called it Leia, Where Are You? And I think parentheses, A New Hope, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry if that was confusing. Bad feeling about this. Yeah, so this little block here, super silly block. And then we get into the punk rock. I like this here. Rogue Squadron, Never Tell Me the Odds, Ode to the Millennium Falcon. Those are all punk rock bangers. Those are a lot of fun. And we get some ballads. I Love You, I Know, Do or Do Not, There Is No Try. So it's kind of emo ballads there. And then we're back to Anakin world with I'm Your Father, Hello There. Super random with It's a Trap and Final Chewbacca. A little bit silly. And then Hello from the Dark Side. That's the Royish Good Looks. That's the seminal song. If this was a live show, that's an encore song, right? And now that I'm looking at it, maybe All Powerful Force, that's got TFA, The Force Awakens in it. That one should go after Final Chewbacca. I don't want to sandwich in Hello from the Dark Side there. I like the idea that we do Hello from the Dark Side, and then we go into the Mando verse. That's a nice kind of change of pace there. And then that would be your encore. We're going to do, how many songs would this be as an encore? 15 song encore after Hello from the Dark Side. So hey, maybe that works there, right? But then we're saving all the Mando songs and sequel songs for the encore. That's so funny. All right, this works really well. All the Mando songs, Book of Boba Fett, Grogu, Mandalorian, I think those all work really well together. Master and Apprentice, the kind of Jedi song, that sticks out a little bit like a sore thumb after those. I think the actual songwriting and production fits in well, but thematically that one is a little left field. that works a lot better with maybe Feel the Force or It's Like Poetry. Those would go well together. And then we get into kind of a hodgepodge here. Ode to BB-8, Back to Jakku, a silly one. Everyone likes Star Wars, a meta silly one. Last Jedi Knight parody towards the end. And then some really heavy Force-themed songs. Let the Past Die, Feel the Force, It's Like Poetry, and The Force is Strong. Roy from the future here. I just wanted to give another bird's eye view. I've been trying to clean up the PDF to make it look a little bit better and color coordinate it, a little bit easier to read rather than the crazy color scheme we had going on earlier. Kind of wild for the video. So the black and white titles are all the meta songs. Red is all the prequel. And we've got 19 prequel songs. So there's a lot of prequel songs. Only a handful of songs in between the prequels and the originals. Maybe about 5 or 6. In the original trilogy, that's 18 songs. So there's actually a decent balance between the prequels and the originals, but it feels like I don't have as many original songs though. And I guess Ode to the Millennium Falcon is kind of a short one. Once a Jedi Knight is a really short remix. Short for a Stormtrooper is a short remix. The final Chewbacca. I think there is some more work to be done in the original trilogy. Maybe some more songs on Luke. I don't know, give me some ideas of what I'm missing, you know? I don't write songs looking at this list and thinking like, oh, I don't have enough songs about, you know, this, that, or the other era. You know, I don't have enough songs about the sequels. But looking at this now, you can see like, obviously I've got a lot of songs about the Mandoverse, and that's only been in the last couple of years that we've got those shows, but I've got 7 songs, you know, one for every one of those seasons. Once we come to the sequels, I've only got 8 songs that touch on, and you know, everyone likes Star Wars is meta. There's an asterisk there. So I've got maybe 7 songs that touch on the sequels, more than double that for the prequels and the originals. So I'm clearly missing some material here as you look through this list. It's an interesting way to look at my catalog that I've never done before, obviously. Again, hopefully this is a little bit easier to visualize. Something very similar to this will be linked in the description if you want to download it. Sorry we went through the whole video with this kind of random color scheme, but you live and learn. It's a 2-hour video, so I did the best I could do while we were making the video. If you want to download this list, I'll put a link in the description as well for that as a nice PDF. This really did take a lot longer than I thought it would, but it made me think a lot harder about what the songs actually mean. I write them one at a time. I think about them one at a time. But of course, if you're writing an album as a band, you do write 12 songs and try to fit them together thematically. So it's kind of fun to go back through and find which ones are supposed to fit together based on the Star Wars timeline. We can obviously come up with a lot more playlists. Maybe we'll do that on some future episodes, because there's clearly a lot of tracks here that seem like they belong together, but maybe they don't work in the timeline. Again, like Padme's song and Broken Heart. There's 62 songs here. So if you were gonna play a set as a performing artist, you know, an hour and a half or so, I think this is a little over 2 hours of material. So you could still probably get through a huge chunk of these songs. I would love to hear in the comments what strings of songs you thought worked well chronologically here. And I'd also love to hear if you just have your own set list or your own playlist of songs that you like to hear back to back. Even if they don't fit together thematically, if they're just your favorite songs, that's totally cool. I've never really talked about this with any of you. This is just something this is my headcanon, right? Or your headcanon. So let's get a conversation going. Leave your set list, your track list down in the comments. I look forward to reading them. And again, if you want to further help support what I'm doing here, check out my Patreon, check out the Bandcamp. The links are in the description. I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching today, and I'll see you on the next one.